sometimes I think women in business feel like they have to pretend to be men in business in order to fit in, when actually what we need is more of the feminine energy or characteristics to succeed, or that, really being yourself, whatever
Mm-hmm.
that means, is more powerful. Did you run into that at all? And have you seen that? What advice would you give for young women who wanted to be in sales, thinking either they need to, man up to be in the sales profession or sales management, versus leaning into their feminine side?
Great question. And absolutely. The first thing I was looking down was at my nails. I used to not want to paint my nails bright colors. I never wanted to stand out, as almost wanted to dull the feminine energy, if you will. I wanted to just really be seen, not heard, to an extent, right? Like, I want to show that I can do their job. And for whatever reason, I guess that made me think that I needed to not be so feminine. And to your point, maybe not wear bright colors and not be me. And that was hard too, to stifle that, because I feel like I'm my best self when I'm my true self. And that was hard to think, you need to be someone else, or you need to pretend like you're someone else, or dull a maybe the best side of you, just to fit in a societal mold, is what I'll reference it as. And I think once, again, I think it was me looking up and seeing other women around me in even higher roles, and in VP type level roles, that weren't afraid to be themselves. And I thought, well, if she can do it, I can do it. So I think that I want to, again, stress the importance of being that role model and setting that example out there for the younger generations and the people, that are coming up through the ranks behind us. Because they do. I've had people reach out to me and say, you've given me confidence because you've been yourself in this situation, or because you're not afraid to, be feminine and in a male dominated industry. And that stuck with me, because that also, I know, was something I looked at, but now I try to also carry that torch forward, if you will, and know that the piercings, or the that you may have, people that have or tattoos. I mean, that's always been such a taboo thing, right? I don't have any personally, but it was always like that was frowned upon. You need to be buttoned up, and no creative artistic approach. And I think, fortunately, the society is starting to, change the perception on some of that it doesn't impact what your mind is, and,
Right.
what you're capable of, which is encouraging, because people, when they're comfortable, I feel like, can shine and be the best version of themselves.
I agree. Now, as we move to our behavior bucket here, these are our goals, plans, and actions. And I think a really great question here is, what do you think successful business women do that maybe men don't, or that younger women or women who aren't successful in business don't do?
So I don't know if this is exclusive to women. I know that for myself, for me, it is, and then for some of the women I know personally in the similar industries, is the preparation and the planning. So there's different. I always like to look at the sphere of control and then the sphere of influence. So there's a lot of things that we can directly control, right? But timing, I feel like, is not one of those. We can influence timing, but sometimes we have zero control over it. It's kind of that right time, right place. So when it comes to maybe putting yourself in the right position for a future opportunity, or to be considered for, again, depending on where you're at in your career, an internship, or for a promotion in your job, or to take on additional responsibilities to be able to prove yourself for an additional promotion. I think it's preparing ahead of time, and knowing that when the time comes, that you that's the one thing you're not able to control, but that you are prepared. So always being prepared, showing up each day as your best self. I'm such a big, and you'll see on my website, I'm such a big proponent of the first hour of the day and how that can impact the next 23. So I always, I won't say always, I try to strive to, either it's, this morning I went for a 3-mile run. And while I'm running, that's as much of a mental thing for me as it is physical. I'm able to work through problems, think through things, plan for the day. So whatever it may be. Some people love to meditate. Some people love to, maybe just go for walks, spend time in prayer and yoga. There's a lot of different things that really just to get yourself in the right headspace. And I think for me, that's, again, probably not necessarily unique to women, but it's definitely worked for me, just to really put myself in a good headspace and to really think through, where do you want to be? And setting goals. I may want to be a VP one day, right? But let's break that down a little bit. It's great to set big, lofty goals, but what do you need to do to get there, right? And putting a plan together, not just setting a goal and shooting, throwing darts at the wall and hoping something sticks. Really putting together solid plans and what I like to call micro goals. So rather than saying, okay, I'm going to do this in 6 months, well, to get there in 6 months, what do you need to do in 3 months? What do you need to do in 1 month, 1 week, 1 day? When you approach it that way, first of all, it's not as daunting because you can really put together plans to get you there. So in 3 months, you've been working your way to that point. But it also feels more attainable. So it goes back to the, setting SMART goals and going against that, making sure it fits each of the categories.